I'm Plami, and in this episode of Plami's Thought Zone, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on the 7th episode of the 7th season of one of my favorite shows ever, Fear the Walking Dead. And yeah, this was a really good episode. And the interesting thing is, a lot of people seem to agree on the subreddit, who usually hate every single episode. And I'm happy that they finally enjoyed an episode. But there's one thing that confuses me. What exactly about this episode is any different compared to the previous 5? That they seem to enjoy it so much? Like, I really don't understand what is so different. Like, yeah, this was a really good episode because it had so many of our characters in one place, and we had a really cool thing to deal with, you know? It was very action-packed and very tense and everything, but it otherwise isn't really that different from any of the other episodes so far. Like, that's pretty much the only difference that I feel like is like noticeable. And yeah, that makes it better, but I don't think the other episodes are that bad compared to how much people complain about them. They're not that bad, that much worse compared to this, you know? But yeah, it was a really enjoyable episode, and I don't really even know where to start with talking about this episode. I guess first we should start with the opening title, where it's really funny, and this is something that somebody on the subreddit commented, I think, that it's really funny that a fucking building got the title card before Luciana got an episode of her own. I mean, that's just... I feel bad for the actress, for Luciana. I think her name was Danai or something. No. It was something with D. Because, like, she's been on the show since season 2. And she got the most storyline in season 2. So that's kind of annoying. I wonder how she feels about it. I feel like she deserves much more than what she's given, man. Because she's pretty good and I liked her, but she hasn't been given anything to work with, especially in season 6 and 7, which is especially annoying. Like, the most she got was in Wes's episode last season. That's the most she got. But yeah, I do understand why the title card was the tower, because the episode was essentially about the tower, and because all the events happened in the tower, and it was about all the characters that were in the tower. But yeah, there's just kind of a little much to talk about when it comes to this episode. It was really cool in the beginning how Strand... It showed us how Strand was deciding on which people to let in the tower and which to not. And I love the sequences with the person who was drawing a picture of him. Because... I mean, I didn't know exactly what the final product was going to be like, but it is definitely as menacing as I expected it was going to be like, because the point Strand was trying to make there is that he wanted a picture that showed how he sees himself, or a picture that shows how he wants people to see him, but instead the person who painted the picture painted him essentially like a evil dictator. Like, he looked fucking evil in that portrait. So he threw it off the roof, and that kind of showed that he doesn't want to be seen as evil. Like, he wants to be seen like as a savior. You get what I mean? But he's clearly not. And at the same time, Morgan called because he needed help for his baby, because June is the only doctor he knows, and she's at the tower, so he wanted June's help. But Strand at first didn't want to let him in, but now, after seeing that people think of him as evil, decided to let him in. So that was a really cool setup, and I like how throughout the episode, they were trying to kind of work together. Like, I was really hoping through majority of the episode that they were finally gonna reconcile their differences and start working together, because, I mean, I don't... like, the conflict between Morgan and Strand has started because of a dumb reason in the first place. Not dumb in terms of badly written or badly conceived. It's a dumb reason because of the mental states both of the characters were last season in the sub. Because when they were dealing with the sub and trying to stop the nukes from being shot, Morgan was too selfless. He wanted to risk his life to stop Teddy, and it's likely that if he entered the place where Strand didn't want to let him in with the nukes, he probably wouldn't have been able to stop Teddy anyway. Because if you remember, once Strand and Morgan got to the door to the control room, they needed key cards, and the only way they got a key card was after Strand pushed Morgan into the walkers, so he killed the walkers and gathered the key cards. I don't think that's the thing that they were thinking of doing beforehand. Maybe they did, but I don't think so. So if it wasn't for Strand pushing Morgan in the walkers, they wouldn't have found him. And even, I'm pretty sure even Strand pointed it out and Morgan shut him down for that, but it's true. And the thing in that situation is that Morgan was too selfless and Strand was too selfish for them to work together and defeat Teddy and prevent him from launching the nukes. Literally, what happened with them preventing Teddy from shooting more than like one nuke, aka 10 warheads or so, is the best outcome, because if it wasn't for Strand, Morgan would probably have died trying to get to Teddy's control room and died of radiation poisoning. And obviously Strand wasn't going to be capable or smart enough to defeat Teddy, so there was no way for it to end better than what it did. But it shows that the conflict is kinda dumb for them to be engaging, because there's no reason why Morgan necessarily should be pissed at Strand, because he was being dumb as well in that situation. But I do like their clashing morals or whatever, so to speak, and it's really satisfying to hear a character from OG Fear kind of voice the criticisms that fans had for like season 4 and 5 in terms of Morgan's helping people and him failing. Strand said that a few episodes ago. That was really satisfying to hear. But still, throughout this episode, I was really hoping to see them reconcile their differences and start working together, and it really seemed that that was where it was going. For even though Strand was really fucking annoying, it genuinely was annoying to constantly hear him not want anybody to help him, being so afraid of other people's help. Like, that was really fucking annoying. The more it went on, I was really starting to get pissed off. He even risked Momo's life for that shit, but at least at that point he kinda recognized that what he was doing was stupid. And the thing about this episode is, it very much feels that Strand went on this character development that is the exactly same thing from episode 1. We see him as a dictator in the beginning, he kind of mellows out in the episode, and then by the end of it, he's returned back. He wants to find Alicia, he asks somebody else to help him find Alicia, and then at the end of the episode, because of certain events, he reverts back to being a authoritarian dictator piece of shit. And it's like, we did that in episode 1, and it was debatably better, in a way. And it really pisses me off what Morgan did in this episode, because not only it pisses me off because I would be so pissed if Strand dies because of Morgan, but it's just annoying because they were just reconciling their differences and Morgan then decides to fucking poison Strand? I mean, fucking come on, dude. I also don't really think that fits with Morgan's character, so it's annoying in that regard as well, but it's really fucking stupid how the second they were ready to reconcile their differences, Strand found out that Morgan was the one who poisoned him, and instead of Morgan apologizing or something along those lines, no, he fucking doubles down. Like, I hate when Morgan does shit like this. When he thinks he's righter than everyone. Like in this case, it's not about oh, life is precious or I must clear, but it's still infuriating because nothing gives him the right to murder Strand. He's not on the right side of things, you know? They were finally reconciling their differences against a common thread. And it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It really pissed me off because I was finally happy to see them work together and maybe having to work together to find Alicia. But no, we just had to pit them against each other again. And I really, really, really hope Strand doesn't die because of Morgan, because I'll be so pissed. I might be so pissed that I might stop watching the show just because of how annoying that's gonna be. But yeah, I don't know. I'll still probably review it, but I'll definitely be more hateful of the show, I feel like, because that would be a terrible way to go, especially if at that point they don't give more screen time to Alicia, because she has had no screen time this season. And I don't understand why. I mean, last season it was kind of like that as well, although I feel like she had maybe a little bit more screen time, but like, she is supposed to be the main character of the show. And at the very least, like, she is like the second build, and she has been in like 5 minutes of this season so far, at the end of this episode, which I was really happy to see her, by the way. I was so hyped. It was so fucking cool to see her. When she took the mask off, that was so satisfying. And yeah, from what we know so far, she is technically the leader of the Stalkers, or at least what the Stalkers used to be. Because we're gonna learn more in the next episode, the mid-season finale, so I'm gonna be probably reiterating some of the stuff in that episode, but after being in the bunker, they got out, and I guess some of the people split off, and I think we saw probably either the main villain or one of the main antagonists of that group of the Stalkers, because they attacked Strand's tower and shot walkers who had contaminated parts of the nuke that didn't blow up inside of them. So that was really cool as well, as a way to threaten Strand. That was really cool. Although again, we had a little bit of a moment where things happen off screen, and I don't understand fucking why. Why couldn't we see the characters take out the Stalkers with the MRAP? It just doesn't make any sense to me, other than budget cuts or something. Like, yes, a lot of these episodes in Fear Season 6 and Fear Season 7 do tend to skip over a lot of things. And personally, that doesn't bother me, because they skip over mostly the boring parts that I don't really care about and get to the point, in a way. But I feel like, in addition to that, accidentally, a lot of cool stuff like this also get skipped over, which is a real damn shame, because I think it could have been cool to see that. And then at the end of the episode, because once Strand finds out that Morgan was the one to poison him, he makes a deal with Grace that she's gonna stay at the tower and help him remove the walkers who were let loose in the walkers guarding the tower, who were contaminated by the nuke. And she's gonna help him remove them in exchange for Morgan's life, who again gets away scot-free. Then later he's found out by Dwight and Sherry, which, yeah, that might make sense considering the ending of episode 5, where the people who intercepted him, Mickey and Sherry, said that it's not an ambush. That definitely makes that scene there come off as more friendly now. I mean, it did come off more friendly, but I feel like maybe it was a scene like where the bad guys would try to recruit people and be nice to them before they show how bad they truly are, you know? So yeah, it turns out that those people who intercepted Dwight and Cherry were Alicia's people. And it was really cool, as I said, to finally see Alicia. But then it turns out that some walkers who I assume were sent by the Stalkers end up attacking Alicia's camp. And the dumbasses who are guarding her camp end up shooting the walkers, them exploding. And then there's this ominous cloud of blood and dust that is flying towards everybody, and they run. And that is such an ominous and cool ending. I love it, man. That was such a cool ending. I mean, I was already fucking hyped seeing Alicia, but that ending also really made it fucking cool. And it's impossible to overstate how much I love that Alicia is back. Like, personally, it hasn't necessarily bothered me that she hasn't been in the season so far, because I enjoy a lot of the other characters as well. I enjoy John Dory, I enjoy Strand, I enjoy Dwight, I enjoyed Will, and all those other characters. I like Josiah as well, but Alicia just brings certain quality that no other character really gives off. And it's really funny, but because she was one of the less interesting characters back in the OG Fear seasons. So that's, a lot of people love to give shit to the reboot seasons compared to the OG seasons, but Alicia is the best she's ever been in the reboot compared to the OG seasons. In the OG seasons, for the most part, she was just there. Like, yeah, her role, I feel, was growing more and more with each season, but she was still just there for the most part. She became more of a zombie-killing badass from season 4 onwards, and especially in season 6 and 7, she's been the best she's ever been, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, it was a really cool episode. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So, Grace and the baby are now staying at the tower, and Strand decides to adopt the baby? I don't fucking know what that's supposed to mean. Well, it feels a little weird. It kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's not necessarily out of nowhere, because we had Dwight talk about wanting a family a few episodes ago, so it's not outside of a viewer's mind. And in this episode, he has a little bit of a talk with the baby and everything, so maybe he decides that he wants a kid of his own in that moment. I don't know, but it does kind of feel a little weird, and I'm curious where they're going with that. I don't think it's probably not gonna go anywhere. It's just like for shock value at the end of an episode, but it just kind of confused me a little bit when I saw it. But yeah, overall it was a really good episode. I can understand how people can say that this episode is good in a similar way to episode 1, but I don't understand how people can say that this episode is really good, episode 1 is really good, and everything in between is dog shit. Because I don't think, I recognize that there's a difference in quality. And there's definitely a different feel that these episodes, episode 7 and episode 1, give off. But the difference in quality is not that big. It's at best, in terms of the ratings that I do, for example, it's at best a 0.5 kind of like a difference. Because, like, let's say episode 1 was a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10. Episode 2 is like an 8.6 out of 10, for example. And this episode, I would say it's probably an 8.9 out of 10. I thought it was really good, but I still think episode 1 of this season was easily the best. Because it was just like the novelty of the nuclear apocalypse and being introduced to a new character from the perspective of a new character and everything was really fucking cool. I really liked it. It was really cool to me. Similarly to how the first episode of season 6 was fucking amazing, I liked the first episode of season 7 as well. But yeah, what did you guys think about this episode? Comment down below and let's have a discussion about it. And also, before we end this video, I just want to give a huge shout out and thanks to my current 3 patrons on Patreon: Omari Bridgman, Deadpool, and Lemonade. Thank you guys for supporting me. It really means a lot. I really appreciate all your support, and I hope you continue to support me for a long time. And now, before we end this video, I just want to talk about something to you guys very quickly, which some of you may or may have not noticed before or know about me, that being the fact that I am trans. And yes, this may come as shocking to some of you because I don't really flaunt it that much on my channel, or at least I feel like I don't. Outside of like my K-pop reactions, which is where I feel like the most comfortable being myself like this. And yeah, I am in fact trans. I'm not necessarily full-on male to female, but I heavily want to transition to being pretty female. I do consider myself more non-binary though, or maybe gender fluid would be the best descriptor as well, because I do have occasional moments where I feel fine being like just a normal guy, but most of the time, like right now, I do feel very dysphoric.
And that's why I'm asking you guys for any help that you can give me, because my situation right now, I don't really see any way outside of you guys' help. Because, and this is gonna be kept short and concise, I live with my parents. They're never going to accept me as a trans person. They just never will. And as a matter of fact, back when I started the YouTube channel, I was actually kind of slightly starting my transition back then, with like starting to grow out my hair. I even got to DIY HRT, but because my parents started noticing certain things, like my behavior had changed a lot and my clothes had changed a lot, I kind of had to stop doing that, because they were constantly nagging me about cutting my hair and just started to kind of be threatening in a certain way, and felt like they were ashamed of me and everything. And that kind of stress just tired me out to the point where I just gave up. But as dysphoria goes, it just doesn't go away, you know. I still feel like this, and in fact it's somewhat been intensifying again recently. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. And again, I would really appreciate any amount of support you can give me in regards to this, because I just don't see any way out of this. Because even if I moved out of my parents' house and got myself a job and everything, that's just not gonna work for long-term planning. Because once I transition, it's like I probably will not be able to get myself a job, because my country is very transphobic. Nobody gives a shit about LGBT people at all. So there's not even much I can do, even in terms of transitioning here. So yeah, I don't know. I just would appreciate any amount of support you can give me, be it monetarily or in any way otherwise. And this is not about boosting my channel or anything, or guilt tripping you with my sob story. I just wanted to get this off my chest and make my subscribers aware of the situation that I am in, and that I would appreciate anything that you guys can help me out with. It would mean literally everything. Like, for example, a friend that I made after starting this YouTube channel, my good friend Yuri, has been helping me out a lot. And I genuinely might have not been here if it wasn't for him showing up and befriending me. So yeah, this just went a little bit longer than I intended, but I would just really appreciate anything you can support me with. That's kind of ultimately what I'm trying to say.
And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, check out in the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me over there, and to my Wattpad, where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you don't enjoy my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to Patreon or to my Ko-fi account, where you can pledge your support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think that's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!